All right, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another live stream. Could be, possibly, maybe. Let's see. So, it is Sunday night. You guys know that we like to stream live Sunday nights when we can. And we have a topic from this week for some of the news for Walking Dead. There's also the Last of Us, which is hitting today, I believe, tonight. So I don't know if it's up just yet, but I think it's hitting. Yeah, I think it's hitting soon today. Anyway, today's the 15th. It's supposed to be the 15th for Last of Us, so that should be today or tonight. Anyone? Thank you, Easy does it. Appreciate the verification for sound. And Chancellor Palpatine, I enjoy it. Emperor Palpatine, I like it. Let me see if my chat is showing. Just want to be sure that my chat box is working. So I just see. Make sure I got everything turned on for you guys. Yeah. The Craig Lee says, do a Show Me Your Bats 2 video. That was a while ago. Yeah, we did that one. I remember that. Yeah, dude, that was a long time ago. Damn. At this point, did it finally load there? I feel like the chat box did load and then it didn't right after. Gotta love how that works. So the news item for this video is that the Rick and Michonne spin-off series for The Walking Dead has been delayed a bit. It's been delayed to 2024, so we can go ahead and take a look at that. We got it right here. The Walking Dead, Rick and Michonne spinoff pushed to 2024, so it's actually been pushed back. We were expecting to see it for a release time range of likely Halloween 2023. This year is what they were hoping to get. For the Rick and Michonne spinoff, but it sounds like maybe they were not able to complete it in time for the deadlines and stuff that they would have to do to be able to, finish the Rick and Michonne first season for that time frame release, so a Halloween release. Fortunately, it will take a bit longer. You guys know how it is. Happy they're doing it, but yeah, that's all right because it was cool to get to see. It was cool to get to see, Rick return and everything, and Michonne also return. Yeah, New Brunswick, we'll get to that. There is supposedly a 7-year time jump in Fear the Walking Dead for its final season. So the series that are coming up soon, we've got first, which one's first? I think Fear the Walking Dead is first, I believe, and I think it's a May release for its final season. Fear the Walking Dead announced to be ending. Its final season is going to be season 8, so that's going to be in May, I believe. And then Dead City after that. And then Walking Dead Daryl Dixon show, okay. And then after all that, then we have what was going to be a Rick and Michonne release for 2023 Halloween has been now pushed back to 2024. So maybe, I don't know, wintertime release 2024, something like that for that. And yeah, so that's the news for that. Push to 2024. It's supposedly going to be an epic love story. They have teased it and everything. We're waiting to see it for a long time. The finale for The Walking Dead did great. It got over a couple million views, which is really good for the kind of like the final episodes of the series. And I think it's number 2 on Netflix right now. The Walking Dead's final season is trending on Netflix as like their second, highest rated right now. So that's really good. So yeah, dude. So it's great to see The Walking Dead still doing well. People still interested, in seeing Walking Dead and everything. My chat box is still freezing on me here. Let me just see. Okay, let's set it to clean. See if it'll do it. We'll give it a couple minutes here. See if it can catch up with your guys' comments. But Yeah, so that's kind of the release schedule, dudes, for this year for Walking Dead. Rick and Michonne pushed back to 2024. Definitely wanted to highlight that for you guys, spotlight that for you, dudes, because that's the one that most of us are looking forward to the most. Definitely for this year, we will definitely review Dead City, all the episodes of Dead City, definitely for the first season. All the episodes of the Daryl spinoff, definitely for its first season. And we have done Fear the Walking Dead all these years. We might as well finish it up if it's going to be ending this year. So if season 8 is going to be its final season, and we've reviewed, I think, almost every episode of the whole series. Maybe we have reviewed every episode. I'm not sure if I missed a couple here and there. I forget. I may have. But I've pretty much reviewed all of Fear the Walking Dead all the way through. So we might as well finish it up. We're going into its final season. We might as well wrap it up with the show and do reviews for the final episodes of Fear. And so just see, how many people are interested, and, just kind of see what we think for the wrap up for Fear. Also, there's the possibility that, they could cross over some of the characters maybe into a future Walking Dead series or something. So there's always that possibility. So that's why we might as well wrap it up and finish off with Fear the Walking Dead. Might as well. Why not? Why not just continue through and finish it up to the end? So yeah. So Last of Us tonight. So I'll get a chance to probably watch it later tonight. I'll most likely watch it, and we can go ahead and do a review of it probably tomorrow or Tuesday, maybe something like that. How are you doing, Melon Colley Hart? How's it going? And SF Chancellor Palpatine, nice. Like it. Damn, I need Rick and Michonne first before anything else. I know it's true. But we'll see. Last of Us seems to be, getting good reviews so far. There's a lot of online sites and stuff that got to watch it early. So they got to see Last of Us like a week ago or 2 weeks ago or something. For the rest of us, it's for the rest of us, it's premiering today. So if you're interested, I think it's HBO Max, I'm pretty sure. You can watch Last of Us, and it's gotten good reviews so far. Obviously, there's a lot of similarities between The Last of Us and Walking Dead, just with Pedro as the lead for that, which is good. So it should be a fun series. I'm looking forward to it, and we'll see how many seasons it gets. I think it'll probably get renewed for season 2 for sure. And then, maybe a few years of Last of Us or something. I'm not sure how long the game series is. I think there's 2 volumes of Last of Us. There's about 2 games, right? So I'm not sure how long that would go for. So yeah. Yeah, and so I think that's most of the news for Walking Dead lately. There is a trailer for Fear the Walking Dead in its final season with Madison returning and everything. So it does look good as well, too. It's kind of cool with Last of Us that it's sort of it's a genre that's obviously, been covered a lot with Walking Dead, right? And there's even Z Nation and, lots of zombie movies and stuff. But, Last of Us, I think, has a really good, roster, is a really good set of a good cast, and it's got the game series to go off of. So, yeah, I think it'll do really well tonight and do really well going forward. So, at least give us something to watch when Walking Dead, is not on. Did they say, so Jonathan Burr asked if they said why Rick and Michonne is delayed to 2024. So here's the info. Walking Dead, Rick and Michonne spinoff pushed back to 2024. The as yet untitled Walking Dead spinoff featuring Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrera will not debut until 2024. AMC revealed today during their Television Critics Association presentation. The series is the last scheduled Walking Dead spinoff that's been announced so far, with The Walking Dead having just wrapped up late 2022 and Fear the Walking Dead set to conclude later this year. Little is known about the Rick and Michonne spinoff series, other than that it will reunite the 2 characters on screen and provide closure to two of the most beloved characters in The Walking Dead history. Characterized as quote-unquote an epic love story, the spinoff was teased at Comic-Con International in San Diego with a 2023 release date at that time. So the key is that, I guess just the way scheduling is and everything they're going to be doing, but it does sound good. This next phase of our beloved Walking Dead franchise will promises to engage and enthrall faithful viewers. Fans new and old would love seeing zombies walking across the Brooklyn Bridge, so that'd be like Dead City, beneath the Eiffel Tower, inside the Louvre, and at dozens of more exotic and iconic locations from around the country and the world. So that's cool. So yeah. So they don't really say exactly why, why it's pushed back or what the reason for that is. But yeah, that's what they said. They said it is pushed back. I mean, I just think that they were not able to complete it in time, and that's really what it comes down to. So yeah, there's also a Fear the Walking Dead. What you want to say, like a poster or something or a banner for this season. So this is it here. If you guys haven't seen it, so we got May 14th. Fear the Walking Dead final season, AMC Plus, and you've got kind of like a grown over skull, which is kind of cool. So zombie skull, so that's pretty sweet. So I like that one. And 12 episodes for this final season of Fear, guys. So for anybody who's interested, 12 episodes of Fear the Walking Dead to wrap up. 6 episodes, and then a break, I think, and then another 6 episodes. I'm pretty sure that's what they're doing. So I guess the second half of Fear the Walking Dead's final season will probably be the fall release. So, fall release for that. Maybe that has something to do with why AMC decided to hold off on Rick and Michonne until the next year. Maybe because Fear the Walking Dead's finale will be in the fall, which I think is good. That's a strong offering, from them, because it is the final part for the series. So so that makes sense that you would do that. Let's see. So what did you guys have to say here? I'm just having some issues today with my my chat box. That's all. So Lifebrick says April 18th or April 2018 was the end of good Walking Dead content. What season would that have been, Lifebricks? Would that have been 2018 April? That would have been almost 5 years ago now. So you're talking like season 7, season 8, something like that. Yep. Blu-ray Addict says, I stopped watching Fear the Walking Dead halfway through season 5. Bizarre Residualist says, Smart Walkers in season 8. Blu-ray Addict, The Last of Us is on tonight. It could be better than The Walking Dead. Well, it's safe to say it probably can't be better than what Walking Dead ended up being. It could be great, though. Like, it could be really good. But will it run for 13 years and spawn 100 episode plus additional series and like 3 spin-offs and almost a movie? No. No. Last of Us, I would say, it can't really be as good as Walking Dead. It can be like quality and like great for like 3 years or something, probably. Maybe max 4 or 5 years. That's it. It's not strong enough for like I don't think it's strong enough for a 13. Yeah, it's not strong. It's not strong enough for a 13-year run with multiple spin-off series, almost a movie, except for the shutdown screwed that up. 3 spin-offs, a companion series. No, it's not that. It's not strong enough. We'll see how people feel about the HBO version and how they like it. It might be strong enough for somewhere between like 3 seasons to 6, 7 seasons, maybe. I wouldn't go in expecting it to be 13 seasons. No, plus spinoffs. So, plus you got to factor in Fear too. So you're talking like 20 seasons. No, it won't be. It won't be as strong as Walking Dead. There's no way it could be. I don't think it's reasonable to expect it to be Walking Dead level, but it'll be good. Like it'll probably be, reasonably good. like if you look at Game of Thrones, for example, Game of Thrones was like 8 seasons or 8 years, and then House of the Dragon continuing after that. That's a really good run. But it depends. You know, some people, they like to use the quality over quantity argument or viewpoint. Well, that's up to you, but, you know, that's fine. So it could be good quality. One thing about Walking Dead is that there's so much to it. Like they made so much with it, which I appreciate because I like it, right? But they made so many episodes of Walking Dead, and they did the companion series with Fear. They had Morgan leave to go to Fear. They had Dwight and Sherry leave to go to Fear. They have the spin-off series. So they made so much Walking Dead. They made hundreds of episodes, you know, of 16 episodes a year, hundreds of episodes. So maybe they created even more than what a lot of viewers would want with it. You know, they might just want a few years or something. So if you just want like a few years of a really good series with high quality, maybe Last of Us will be better in that respect. But I don't think it's a reasonable expectation to go in thinking that Last of Us could be better than Walking Dead. It can't really be better than Walking Dead. That's not reasonable. You know, I mean, if you started a new outer space series, that's like saying it could be better than Star Wars or something. It can't really be better than Star Wars. Not really. I mean, it could be good like, oh, this season was better than seasons of Star Wars, or this season was better than maybe the first. But, you know, it's not going to be, you know, it's not going to be a 13-year run, I don't think. I wouldn't say so, no. Although Last of Us could be really good, and it could do very well, and it could be great for a few years. HBO has a tendency of cutting series short. They also have a tendency of like going for quality, which is great. I think that's awesome. But they also don't go in terms of quantity that much. So they don't produce as much as far as quantity goes. Thanks for the support there, LifeBricks. I do appreciate it. LifeBricks says over under 50% chance Rick show gets canceled. Not that good. The Rick Michonne series, they're going to do it. They've been meaning to do it for a long time. They got pushed back. They had to do other stuff. They had Rick show up now in the finale of Michonne 2. They're going to do it. They kind of have to do it. If they don't do that, then a movie or something. They have to revisit the characters one way or another. So 2024, it's going to happen, you know, at some point. So it'll be great. Now, maybe you could say Last of Us might be better than the Rick and Michonne spinoff. Okay, that's fine. I'll consent to that. Maybe Last of Us could be better than the Rick and Michonne spinoff. Maybe. But it can't be as good as Walking Dead, guys. Come on. It has no chance. Walking Dead had, if you look at season 6, season 7, season 8, the highest ratings of like cable TV history. Way better than what anybody could have possibly expected. The thing is they just kept it going for so long that after 13 years, people are not always that interested in one particular type of series for that long, you know. Even Game of Thrones. If Game of Thrones was still on now, I don't think it would be that popular as it was in season 7, season 8 of Game of Thrones. Like you look at House of the Dragon. House of the Dragon does great, by the way. Really, really good. And I'm really happy for it. But they took a break for like 4 years or 5 years in between. If they'd have been making Game of Thrones content for those 5 extra years, now you're in Walking Dead territory. So I would even argue that Walking Dead is stronger than Game of Thrones. And I know that some people might get mad and, you know, go White Walker mode on me and try to eat my face. But I'll say Walking Dead is stronger than Game of Thrones. Yeah, and definitely stronger than Last of Us. And no, Last of Us can't be better than Walking Dead. Maybe it could be better than Rick and Michonne spinoff. Maybe. Let's see, though, because you got Rick. So you got to build new characters in Last of Us. You got to build, you know, but it helps because you've got good cast members who people know from other series, Game of Thrones, for example, before with Pedro and what's the girl's name again? I've read it a few times, but I forget. The girl who plays, does she play Lady, is it Mormont? What's her name? Let me look it up. Last of Us wiki. What's the girl's name? Is it, I forget. Game of Thrones been off for a while. Is it Leanna? What was her name? Let's see. Okay, that's the video game version. TV series. Here we go. Ellie. Bella Ramsey is the girl's name. So Bella Ramsey, here I'll switch so you guys can see this. Bella Ramsey is her name from who's going to be in Last of Us, right? So that's cool. And she was, who did she play in Game of Thrones? What was her character in Game of Thrones? That's filmography. Okay, let's see. Game of Thrones. Who did she play in that? Lyanna Mormont. I am right. Yeah, that's what it is. Sometimes, I go back over 4 or 5 years and I get the names wrong. Especially with Game of Thrones because some of the names in Game of Thrones are a little bit tricky. That's why. So, yeah. Yeah, allergies. Yeah. So some people are watching Last of Us in the moment, so that's cool. Absolutely awesome. Neb says it's live right now in Australia, so that's awesome. Neb, so yeah, cool. I'm glad you guys are enjoying it. I'm going to watch it after I'm done this with you dudes. We'll do a, Blitz got me. Thanks, Blitz. Bella Ramsey, that's right. So, later, I'll watch it later tonight. We'll do the review later. Now, I did a few videos on in the last month or so after Christmas on religion. So I did one on Christianity. We did one on atheism and what I classify as mind weapons, right? Now, I was considering, and for Blitz too and the others that were here for that stream, I was considering doing one on Judaism, and I've decided no way. Not even close. Even after mentioning some of the things about Judaism, I got people going crazy. I some of the small hats are pretty. They're defensive. Okay, they're quite defensive. They're like little Wolverines or something. Little logical Wolverines. So I decided I'm not going to do one on Judaism, even though I'd like to. It just when I do videos like this, whether it's Christianity or atheism or whatever. We go in for a couple hours. We go deep in some of these topics, right? And we just can't do that if people can't accept criticism. And they can't. They absolutely cannot accept criticism. So they just have this inset victimhood mentality. It's absolutely unbelievable. So we might do one on Satanism, maybe, which is adversarialism, really. That's all Satanism really is. It's just adversarialism. So we might do a stream on that next weekend or the weekend after, maybe. But I would much rather deal with Satanists than the Jews. I'll tell you that right now. The Jews are crazy. They're goddamn crazy. They just go nuts. Like you say anything bad about them ever, and they go absolutely. I got people emailing me. I'm glad I don't put my phone number in my thing. I'm sure I'd have small hats calling me up, like yelling at me and stuff. Because they don't, if you go into an understanding with Judaism of like Goyim and how they view themselves and how they view the cattle or the Goyim, people that are not them, they don't want they don't want the Goy to know that. They don't want people to know that they actually do that. So so just to touch base with you guys on that one, definitely we're not gonna touch that one. So just to let you know. But yeah, we could do one on Satanism. I would rather mess with the Satanists than the Jews any day of the week, twice on Sunday. Absolutely. I'll mess a little bit with the Satanists, but I am not messing with the Jews. No, no, goddamn way. Absolutely not. It's like going into a snake pit. There's absolutely no way. It's like you said this and you said anti-Semitism. Just like they're like smoke blowing out their ears, listening to me explain, how they view the Goy and all this. It's like the Looney Tunes cartoons. Where it's like out their ears. So anyway. It's just like, it is what it is. But obviously, with covering different series for the last, since 2009, so I guess that's almost 14 years now, 13 years, covering different casts and people like this and all the people involved in the entertainment industry, a lot of that is Jewish, right? Hollywood is almost it's almost completely Jewish, the whole thing. All the, you got agents and you got directors and you got, it's unbelievable the amount of them that are in, you could almost say it's like their business, almost. I'm like, there are people in Hollywood and doing shows like Last of Us and Walking Dead and AMC that are not, but so many of them are that if you piss them off, you'll get like Mel Gibson, right? So It's kind of tricky. But they don't really want people to know that that's the case. So that's the thing. So they almost operate, I'd say, as like a secret society, almost. They do, actually. Yeah, I'd say so. Yeah, so that's what it is. WF Livestream, New Brunswick, Canada. Well, I don't know. I don't know. They've got they're doing a thing right now, aren't they, in Davos? I think that's this weekend. There's the bigwigs, the oligarchs are meeting and having all their plebs come so they can give them their orders for the next year or two, right? All these people that we elect, right? We elect them, and then they go and get their marching orders from Davos, right? So, Mr. No Love. He knows his stuff. That's why Mr. No Love, because he knows he was in the business, right? Since when did he start his career? Like the early 2000s or something? So, and I heard he got married this week, so congratulations to Ye. But, he's been in the business all this, so he knows, right? Again, it's a secret site. They don't want people to know this, but everyone should probably know that. Like, even in Walking Dead, we have Gimple, the showrunners for Fear are Jewish. It's true. That's it. That's all there is to it. But they go crazy. Don't tell them, they smoke blowing out their ears. But they get mad, dude. That's why I decided, like, okay, yeah, we're not going to do a whole stream on this. But I'll just say that he knows. That's why. Because he knows that it's true. Everybody in the business knows it. It's only the public that for some reason don't know this. It's like, how do you guys not know this? Like, don't you? Even in Walking Dead, look at the people. Look at John Bernthal, who plays Shane. What do you think he is? He's Jewish. Of course. They almost all are. He's talking about Shia LaBeouf. Guess what? Shia LaBeouf's Jewish. Dude, it's obvious. Like, once you understand it, it's like so obvious. But I guess, I feel bad for Ye because I think he tried to explain this to people and they just couldn't get it, or they wouldn't get it, that, you have like 2% of the population that literally like runs these businesses. And we're just naming a couple people that are out front. But a lot of the agents, a lot of the background people, man, it's crazy. But it's true though. Like, it's crazy, but it's true also. So that's the problem. So, but people don't. I imagine, just like I think about the average person. I'm just like, does the average person know anything about anything? Like, do they know anything? It feels like they don't. It feels like they don't really know anything about anything. It's like, so obviously, of course, Ye got in big trouble, obviously, for calling it out, but it's true. He's right. It's correct. Like, at least they're overrepresented like crazy, is what it is. So yeah. Anyway, we're not we're not doing anything on that. I would much rather spotlight Satanists than deal with those guys. I do not have anything to do with those dudes and their victimhood. Their oligarchical victimhood mindset. I want nothing to do with it. Absolutely not. Yeah, Klaus is too. Yeah, they're all over the place. They're all over the place. Okay, Elon's one that's not, right? Elon's not. Okay, so there you go. Elon's a goy, right? So he's not, he's aristocratic in terms of his family, but he is a goy. He's not actually Jewish. So, okay, so there's a few here and there that are not. But the amount that are is like, whoa, it's really crazy. You can really only come to, once you understand it, you can really only come to one conclusion. There is no other answer for it. It's unfortunate, but that's the case. So, we'll have some nebs. Yeah, they will. They'll get mad at me even for saying this, right? But I don't work for them. I'm like, I work for myself, right? So I don't have a contract with them, right? Because you understand, if you're in the industry, you talk out about it, they'll cancel your shit. They'll just black hole you. You'll be gone. Nobody will know what happened to you. You won't get any roles anymore. You won't, if you're a recording artist, your shows will be canceled. You won't be, nothing. You just won't exist. Like, they'll put you out of the papers. They'll put you out of the news sites. You just won't be, like, they just won't spotlight you after that. But I don't work for them or anything. But anyway, they still get mad. They still write me up and they get mad at me. It's like, I'm like, dude, relax, would you? I mean, it's just what it is. Yeah. No, I have a regular job, Blitz, just like you guys. Just like you. So, I'm just like you guys. I don't work for I just work for a regular company, regular type of deal. But yeah, dude, I've been doing this, covering entertainment related stuff for the last 13 years. After a while, you kind of figure it out. Like, I mean, come on. You sort of start to recognize the last names. You start to recognize all these things. It doesn't take forever to be like, huh, that's interesting. What percentage of the population are you guys again? Anyway, yeah, he's doing, yeah, I think that's great. Mel Gibson's doing a Passion of the Christ 2. Absolutely Blu-ray addict. I will be checking it the F out. And I like Mel Gibson. He's another one that started naming them, right? And what happened to him after? He had to apologize. You know, they're probably threatening to kill him and stuff. They are very nasty. It's sort of like in real life, you know in the movies where they have this like archetypical idea of like an Italian mobster, where there's like the idea of the Godfather and like Italian mobster and all that stuff. But there's no movies made about the J mob. But it's real. In real life, it exists. It's legit. They have their own intelligence services. They have their own hit guys. They got all this stuff, It's like, whoa. But yeah, people who, it'll never be in the movies because you won't know that because they own all the studios that make the movies. That's why. But yeah, man, it's something that like if you work in the industry, you're going to understand that that's actually how it is. But for some reason, the people are so dumbed down, they don't know that this is the case. It's like a mystery to them. They're like, huh? I didn't know that. It's like, what? You didn't know that? No, I just watch all their movies and watch all their shows and listen to their music and everything. It's like, huh? Okay. Yeah, anyway. All right, let's see. So that's my response to you, Mr. No Love. I don't sound like some random person. I'm telling you the truth because it's the truth, and he told you the truth because it's the truth. That's why. So you can take that what you will, or go read the papers that are owned by them that tell you it's not true after this, okay? Go to the fact checkers who they put in to tell you that that's not factual. Okay. Anyway, they even own YouTube too, actually. So yeah, none of them blitz. I'm not involved with any of them. I'm open society, just like you. So yeah, lots of them, Chancellor. Lots of them. But really, you could even say that's kind of a subsection of Judaism too. Is the builder guys are just like they, I think the Germans called it what they call it Judaism for Gentiles. It's just like it's like a section of Judaism for people that are not in the tribe. That's it. Did you know that 43% of Joe Rogan's guests are Jewish? Did you know that? 43% of his guests are Jewish. Did you know that? As you're watching, you're just watching the thing and you're like, huh. Yeah. So like I said, I'm not doing, this is not a stream about that. This is supposed to be a Walking Dead stream. I was just telling you guys we're not going to do one on it because, yeah, there's too much power. There's just too much. You don't know why it matters, Mr. No Love? Because it operates as a secret society. That's why it matters. Because if a particular group owns all of the media that you process in your mind, it matters. That's why it matters to you. It should matter to you because you're consuming all of their production that they're producing and you don't even know that that's the case. That's a sad state to be in, my friend. That's a very sad state to be in. It's a state of washing. You're like mind washed. You're mind flayed. And you don't realize that this is true. And if someone tries to tell you, you think that they're whatever. It's the opposite is true. It's like, oh man, maybe they're right about this Goyim thing, It's like, yeah, dumb goy. Yeah, I guess so. I guess so. I guess they got a point. It means nothing to me. It doesn't matter, right? It's like, huh, they got a point. Yeah, dumb goy, I guess. I guess so, yeah. I guess so. Yeah. Doesn't mean I have to believe it. It doesn't mean I have to actually look up the names and find out if it's true or not. I just get to do what I want, and it's fine. Yeah. Anyway, okay, that's fine. Well, don't say you weren't told. I told you, so that's it. They won't. They won't, Oat Milk. Well, thank you, Oat Milk. I appreciate that, too. I appreciate it. It's all right, man. Listen, you don't have to you don't have to absorb good information if you don't want to. Someone tells you the truth, you don't want to know. You want to do the ostrich algorithm where you just stick your head in the sand and just you put your fingers in your ears like a 5-year-old and go la la la. Okay, put your fingers in the ear and go la la la. Go ahead. All right, go ahead. Okay, it's fine. It's fine, dude. It's fine. Yeah, it doesn't mean I have to. La, 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 la. I just want to go. Yeah, I like the James Bond movies. They're absent baby daddy. Sure, I do. Yeah. Bob Odenkirk. Yeah, Trev. If Bob Odenkirk wasn't able to finish Better Call Saul, yeah, he had a. They did a good joke on the anti-Semitism thing where he ran a scam and then somebody. I think he was at, what was he at? He was at like, I forget. It was in the last season. But yeah, Bob Odenkirk had a heart attack on set for a final season of Better Call Saul. Man, that would have sucked if he couldn't, yeah. That would have sucked if Bob Odenkirk couldn't finish the series, if he couldn't finish his work. I'm glad that he could. They're doing another series, by the way. AMC is doing another series with him. I saw a trailer for it. But we haven't, I don't know much of the details about it, but it should be fun anyway. And God bless him and everything. I'm glad that he's okay, it sounds like. But he did have a heart attack on set, I believe. So that must have been effing super scary for everybody involved. So, yeah, that really sucks. Yeah, see, look at James, right? It's like, good little guy, James. You're a good guy. Yeah. That's one behind me. Yeah, and you're good. Yeah, you do your thing. Yeah. No. So some of the Blitz, there are, let's see. It depends. It depends if you want to get into that topic or not. But I'd say, some of the other geniuses of time. I mean, there's lots. But I was thinking one the other day. Turing. Turing was a legit genius, and so you could look to him if you want to for somebody who, if you want to learn about, that's a good person. But even like doing a stream on Einstein or any of this stuff, no, man, we can't. Do you know that Susan Wojcicki, who is runs YouTube, she's Jewish? Did you know that? Did you know that the guys who started Google are Jewish? Facebook Jewish? It's unbelievable, dude. It's full spectrum dominance pretty much. So, we can't talk about it too much. Anyway, I'm trying to tell you we're not doing a stream on this. It sounds like you guys want to deep dive into this and get all the details, and you want to get mad at me because I told you who own the services that you're using, who own them, right? Bezos. I don't know. So listen, it's up to you. If you want to know, you want to know there. I told you, whatever. I don't think it's a big secret. I think anybody can find this stuff out. Everybody knows Zuckerberg. Everybody knows, you can find this stuff out. It's not that difficult. All you have to do is start looking up names. But yeah, a lot of the services that you use and everything. So it is what it is. You can get mad at me about it. You can shoot the messenger. So go ahead. Shoot the messenger who told you. Shoot the messenger. All I'm saying is we're not doing a stream on it because, that's just what it is. And because people get mad about it because they're taught from the time at an early age not to notice, right? Don't notice. Don't recognize that this is true. Don't notice this, right? That's what it is, man. Don't notice it. So, yeah, it's cool. Yeah. It would help you get rich, actually, oat milk. If you want to get rich, I recommend you probably should do that. Here we got another one. Blitz mentioned Kubrick. What nationality was Kubrick? Oh, shit. I don't know. What was Kubrick? I don't know. I'm not sure. I wonder. All right, yeah. Yeah, he's Jewish, of course. So about Kubrick's movies. Yeah, Kubrick is you defend your people. Okay, here's what I'm saying. Kubrick was a genius. Kubrick was a legit genius, no doubt. Spielberg is a genius. Absolutely, these guys are legit geniuses. Kubrick might have been, I don't know, one of the best filmmakers of all time, right? He might have been one of the best ever. So, Yeah, I love Kubrick's movies. I like 2001. I like Eyes Wide Shut. I like all Kubrick stuff. Absolutely all of it. And I don't care like in terms of these people follow this religion or they follow that religion, because I don't think it's an ethnicity. I think it's a cultural group or a religion. If you follow a certain religion, I'm not going to get mad at you about it, right, or anything. Even if you're a Satanist, I'm not going to say like you shouldn't be a Satanist or something, because parts of Judaism do blend into Satanism. They're like right beside each other, right? They're close, because Satanism is just adversarialism, so they're very close in terms of their outlook, right? Some of like Kabbalah and stuff like that is very close to getting into adversarialism. That's a lot of what it is. So if you read into it, if you learn about it, Nolan's not, I don't think. You could look it up, but he's great. But he's doing Oppenheimer movies. So there you go again. Kubrick was a legit genius for sure. His movies were amazing. So Kubrick's movies are layered. They're extremely layered. So they have like a surface meaning, a surface narrative, and then, they have an encrypted meaning underneath the surface narrative. So they have what's called topology. So this is Jewish too. Okay, here's a Jewish thing that's really cool. I'll show you one that's really cool. With regards to how a lot of times they draft stories, they take something else, like either from real life or some other set of events, and they topologically work it into the story of what they're doing. So this is a kind of a Jewish technique. Okay, it's a technique, one of the techniques that they use. They take something else and they topologically layer it into the story in the sequence. So they'll take, like, if you go to Kubrick, what's the one with Jack Nicholson, The Shining, right? So you've got the possible layering of the moon landing in The Shining. So there's like room 237,000 miles to the moon at that time. So he goes in, it's like a moon room. He goes into room 237. You can look at the breakdowns of the kid. When the kid blasts off from the carpet, the designs in the carpet are like a blast from a rocket. And then he's got a rocket on his shirt, and he kind of blasts off. So that's pretty cool. So you can look at that. So Kubrick, a legit genius, one of the best ever, absolutely. And Spielberg too, legit genius, one of the best ever, absolutely. But you shouldn't be in some kind of duper or confusion about how many of them are in the entertainment industry. You should understand when you're watching the entertainment industry that's pretty much their business, kind of. You really should. And if you don't, I don't know, I think they've just worked on your mind so much that you don't really understand how it works. But that's okay. If you want to be like that, that's fine. I don't know. I think you should people should kind of know the system they exist in. Like, you should kind of understand the world and the different groups and maybe where their strengths are, where their weaknesses are, what they're good at, what they're bad at, different types of businesses. If you want a really good pizza, you want to go to a really good pizza restaurant, you might go to an Italian pizza restaurant, maybe. I don't know. It's just something like you should kind of know, like you should probably know these things that to people in the industry are obvious, right? Like, you should just kind of know that. Like, I'm on the internet right now, right, with you guys. So I know who owns the companies. I know little Susie and the Sunshine Crew. If you're going to go on Facebook, you should probably know, like, who's at the top of that. If you go on Amazon, who's the top of that, right? If you're going to use a news service, right? Who runs BitChute if you're going to go use BitChute or something else. You should kind of know, like, who, who's in charge of what, who's doing what, right? At least to some degree. Yeah. So what'd you say? Blitz said, I just watched Eyes Wide Shut earlier today, and it's fascinating, the stuff at the... yeah, it's great. It's absolutely great. It's one of the best again, it's a layered, you're talking about layering of a movie, right? So layering of other information into the art form. So they take, typologically, they take other things and they go ahead and layer it into the story. I don't know if Gimple's ever done that with Walking Dead, but I like the technique. I think it's really cool to go ahead and take something from real life and topologically layer it into your story. There's something that becomes sort of profoundly true about anything that you typologically layer your story based on. I think that's really cool. It's sort of like, as I mentioned in a recent one we did on Christianity with Pontius Pilate, the governor, okay? And in Walking Dead, we have Woodbury and we have the governor, right? And he's the villain of Woodbury. So you could almost say, and you'd have to ask Kirkman this, if he did that on purpose, but is it such that, the governor in The Walking Dead was inspired by Pontius, the governor of Judea during when Jesus Christ was crucified, right? Like, is that something that sounds cool to you? Is that cool to kind of like understand that maybe that could be where that came from typologically? Is that interesting to you? I like the technique. I think it's cool. Or if you go to Gematria, you look at layering or choosing names based on numerical value, like Mithras being 365 in terms of its Gematria value. Is that something that's kind of interesting to you to see Gematria used to choose a name that has what they would refer to as a magical significance? So the name Mithras being 365 in terms of its Gematria value. Is that something that's interesting to you? Do you think that's kind of cool to pick a name that in terms of Gematria is representative of something that's, does that make it more profound? Or if Jesus Christ is 888 in terms of its numerical value, and that number having some kind of significance to you, is that something that interests you, or is that something to where you just want to like hear the story and that's it? Maybe it's something to where in terms of crafting, these things are interesting to somebody who's crafting a story or who's writing a Walking Dead, or maybe recording the events of the Bible, recording War of the Jews and Josephus, and recording the New Testament. Is that something that interests you, or is that something to where or Kubrick, the way he would layer these events in the story, the typological layering of the story based on a subtext, so having a main storyline and then having a typological meaning underneath the story that speaks to it in some other kind of a way. I think it's cool. I like the layering typological technique. I think it's really sweet. That's like, I think it's Jewish as a technique, typology. I think it came from Hebrews and the way they would write their stories is a technique they used a lot. I think the Romans did it a bit too, with layering stories. So anyway, I think it's cool. I think it's interesting. Ali Seven Dedo says it's interesting. I think it's great. But if you're like, who was the guy above James? If you said, oh, it's not interesting, right? I'm not interested in any of that. It's cool, man. Like, listen, if you don't want to know how these things work, if you don't want to know what's obviously correct, that's okay. You can just stick your head in the sand, just watch Last of Us, just watch Walking Dead, maybe read your Bible if you want to, and don't question anything, additional to that. Just go for the surface narrative and stunt yourself there. Just stunt yourself. Just read the surface narrative, stunt, and forget about the rest, right? Throw the rest away. But for those of you guys who do want to get a little bit more advanced and you want to talk about what's correct, what's incorrect, what's obvious, what's not, and then let's go further than that, and what else is there nested in that? Is there something else here that's interesting or not? Let's do that. But if you don't want to do that, you just want to kind of be like, I just want the surface understanding and that's it, then that's fine. It's up to you. No problem. Your choice. But I love it when, yeah, yeah, go over people's heads, Blitz. Well, that's exactly what you're saying, Blitz, is that you're saying that when you use a subtext or a narrative, so you have one narrative as the main front narrative. And a lot of people, that's all they want. They just want the main front narrative. But I think it's cool when a Kubrick or some of the others who obviously know a lot more about our reality than the people at the surface level, they want to encrypt or they want to encode typologically into their story more, other storylines that, can be seen by somebody who understands that there has been encoded information put into it. I think it's a cool technique. I like it. I like figuring out what's correct and what's true. I like looking at things and learning, actually like looking at it and saying like, okay, what is going on here? How can this be explained, right? Like look at the representation, right? For example, you want to talk about people of a certain tribe or of a certain religion. How can you explain this in any other way but that they basically work together? And that's correct actually too. I know a lot more about this and that's how it actually does work, is that they do function as a connected society, as a connected group. So yeah, if you just want the surface narrative and you want to stop there, then just stunt yourself there. But don't get mad at me because I want to go a little bit beyond the surface narrative, right? I want to get a little bit underneath that and say like, all right, what is that based on? I want to watch The Shining and say, did Kubrick encode some of the moon landing information into The Shining with the boy on the floor where he stands up, he goes to room 237, the moon room, he does all that stuff. Is that something that interests you, or is that something to where you just, they just picked a shirt. They just picked a shirt of this whatever and that's it and that's all there is to it. It's up to you, man. It's your choice. It's your choice. You don't have to go beyond the maybe what we could, let's use their words. You don't have to go beyond the goy level. If you want to stay just at the goy level, at the beast level, or at the zombified level, then just stay at the goy level. Just stay right there. You don't have to go beyond it. You don't have to start to study these things and hear different opinions and figure these. It's up to you. Just stay at that level. If somebody who's involved with the production of these things or works professionally in that industry, and they want to tell you something to bring you beyond the surface level, and you don't want to go because you're like, that sounds rude or that sounds mean or I don't want to go there, then don't. Then just stay at the surface level and don't go beyond that. But I personally like to listen to what people who actually professionally work in certain areas know and what I know and research and learn and try to go beyond that. But if you just want to go there and stop, then just go to the first level and stop right there. No problem. But yeah, so with respect to Kubrick, he also did 2001: A Space Odyssey at the same time as they were prepping to do the moon landing stuff. So he consulted with NASA for the cameras and the different things they were going to use. Now, some people think that he may have actually been the one who actually did film the moon landing stuff, like film it here, let's say. Okay, if it was impossible to go there, that he may have been the one who filmed it here, that Kubrick may have done it. Or he may have been involved with Apollo 11, let's say. Whether or not that's true, I wasn't there, don't know for sure. But I think it's cool to research. I think it's cool to learn about. I think it's cool to go into that. But again, if you don't want to go there and you just want to stay at that surface level, then just stay there. That's it, right? No, you don't have to go anywhere you don't want to go. That's up to you. Yeah, but what I was trying to tell you this whole time is that I was going to do like a 3-hour presentation on this and go deep. You see what I'm saying? Like go deep into this stuff where we could go through the Sephiroth. We could go through Kabbalah. We could go through all of these concepts. But they're like, no, don't do it. Because again, it operates almost like an encrypted secret society where they have they have their own infrastructure level system, and they don't want, Kabbalah just being understood by anybody. So if someone's wearing like a Kabbalah bracelet or whatever and they follow it, but they don't really want, open people to kind of discuss that. They want to keep that to themselves and keep that organized to themselves and do all their stuff there. Just remember, there's always two sides to every story. So on the flip side, they would say that, it's like, maybe Stefan Molyneux's answer with Peterstein, with Peterson, where they say it's IQ. That's why it's IQ. But if you look at their IQ scores for their country, if you look at Israel's IQ scores, what do you find? You find they're like 40th for IQ. So that doesn't seem like an answer to me. Yeah. Anyway, that's what you can hire whoever you want. If you start a business, you can hire anybody you want. If you decide, I want to hire all, black people, let's say. I'm going to hire everybody. Every hire I hire in my company is going to be African American. And you hire all black people. That's your choice. You can do that. Now, someone could try to say legally that's unfair and discrimination or something because you're Caucasian, you apply for a job, and they say, no, sorry, we only hire black people here. So you could try, legally to do something about that. But, I don't think that you're really going to get anywhere with that. If you start a business and you want to hire people, you can hire who you want to hire. If you want to start a podcast and have guests on your podcast, you can guest who you want to guest on your podcast. If somebody asks me to do an episode with me here with you guys and do a cast, I can just say, no, I don't, no, I'm not going to have you on if I don't want to. And then if there's somebody I do want to do it with, I can say, yeah, you could come on, whatever. So that's just what it is. But yeah, am I excited for Ant-Man 3, Vito? No, I don't. I don't think so. Yeah, it's true, J.M. Clinton. I think BitChute right now, Rumble's great, Rockfin's great. I think BitChute right now is probably the best site overall if you want to get, really good information. I think it's good. Now, there's a lot of crap on there too, but at least it doesn't have the censorship like YouTube has, where you have people just being banned outright for telling the truth or for talking about these things. Yeah, it's unfortunate. Sarah Grace has got to be in a death cult to become a big name celebrity. Yeah, I think so. Pretty sure. Yeah, at least to be like the top of the top, I think you do. Yeah, unfortunately. But see, this is something this guy above who wants to give me a hard time for no reason because he doesn't want to listen, doesn't want to know about, right? He doesn't want to know that. He just wants to watch his movies and eat his popcorn, drink his beer, and that's it. So that's fine, man. Get your popcorn, drink your beer, do your stuff, whatever. But yeah, unfortunately, Sarah, I think that's true, mostly. At least a little bit. Look at Shia, for example. I feel sorry for him. He was on with John Bernthal, and they were talking about stuff, and man, like from being the Transformers kid, Transformers star, and the other Disney show he had before, I think it wasn't it Disney? From that to, I feel sorry for him, man. He seems like he's wrecked. Like he seems like whatever he had to do behind the scenes, whatever they put him through, my heart goes out to him. I'll pray for him, man, because I don't know what they put him through, but it feels to me like they put him through the ringer with whatever happened in and behind the scenes to be the Transformers kid, to be in all these things. I don't know what happened to him, but I feel really, really sorry for him because he looks to me like they just put him through the absolute ringer, and that sucks, man. Heart goes out to him. I think he's a father, though, now, so he's had a baby, so that's great. And I do love John Bernthal. Don't get me wrong here, okay? I'm not against, I'm a fan of a lot of these people. I'm a huge fan of Kubrick. I'm a huge fan of John Bernthal. I'm a huge fan of these people, right? I'm a huge fan of Joe Rogan. But I also want to understand some of these things about how this works, So that's it. So I'm not anti anybody. I'm not anti any group. What I'm saying is, but I want to know who are the groups. That's what I'm saying. I'm not anti your group, but I want to know who are the groups, right? Which groups are there that are, that are involved with these things. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, Sarah said it too. When people start off young, they get very damaged in Hollywood. It's true, man. I feel sorry for a lot of them. I wonder if it's worth it. but heart goes out to them and hope that they're okay and hope that they can continue and stuff. But people don't understand. There's a lot of dark stuff that goes on behind the curtain. That's what I'm saying. Behind the curtain, there's a lot of stuff that goes on that's like, shit, man. I don't know, dude. I don't know. But yeah, man. That's just what it is. So yeah. Anyway, let's move on. Let's move on from that from that topic, because it has negative connotations to it, right? And people get freaked out. They don't want to talk about it. There it is. You put it out there. I've been doing this professionally for almost 14 years. Okay, I follow the names. I follow series. I do videos on this stuff all the time, every day, for over 13 years. I'm telling you a professional opinion that yes, it's true, at least to a degree. Okay, now let's move on. All right, that's it. Let's move on. Yeah, that's what it is. Casting couch. Yeah, that's that's what it is, right? The casting couch. That's just I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, J.M. Clinton. That's what he said. And is he lying? Is he telling the truth? I just pray for these people. I don't know what else to do. I pray for them. I just pray. That's it, because I don't know what else to do. And the zombies, they don't want to know. You try to tell the zombies, they're like, I don't want to know. I'm gonna go over here. Right? La 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 la. Run away. They're gone. Okay, am I Jewish? There's a good question. So I do have a Jewish ancestor on my mom's side. Yeah, but I'm not. I'm Christian, so I'm not. I'm not. But in my family, I do have somebody a couple of generations back that is. Okay, so that's what it is. But in terms of me, I'm English and I'm Christian. My values are all basic Christian. Our household was Christian. We make a huge deal of Christmas. We put up the Jesus. We do the thing. We put the music on. We do all the Christian stuff, all the good stuff, right? So that's what it is, and yeah. But again, when I say the things I'm saying about Judaism, I'm saying it referring to the religion and the behavior of the group as a tribe. Okay, I'm not saying it as like an ethnicity or a people. It's like the question is, are Jays white? I would say they are, yeah. But what they are is they're like a subgroup of white. And they don't like that, by the way, too, if you aren't aware of that. They don't want to be associated with white, even though I'm positive that their ancestors are also European. So they are. Even if they don't want to be, they are. Now, some of them might be mixed, like they might be Eurasian, where they're like a lot of Jews are half white and maybe they're half Asian or something. They're Eurasian, it's called, in terms of race, okay? Because in terms of race, there's only actually a few races. There's European, which is like white, right? There's the Asian and Pacific Islander type, right? There's African, obviously, black. And there's natives. And those are like your key four race groups, okay? So in none of those is J a race. It's not. It's actually white. They are white. They're part of, they're Caucasian. Okay, they're not Aryan. They're Semitic, it's called. So they are white though. They're part of the Caucasian race. Now, some of them might be mixed with Asian, Eurasian, okay, which is ancestors mixed from both, right? A little bit from both. And you can kind of tell from some of them too if you look at them, you kind of see it. But a lot of them are not, they're not pure Aryan, but some of them are pretty Aryan looking. If you look at some of them, I'm Aryan looking mostly, right? So that's what it is. But yeah, I'm referring to it as a religion, okay, and as a as a group, but not as a race separate from the others. Now they say that they are separate, but I say that they're not. I say that they're part of the same thing, only that they're a cultural group within the European group or European section, Caucasian basically. So they are, and you can tell if you look at them too. If you look at their skin is mostly white, right? So they are Caucasian. It's just that they're a subsection of it. So they're a certain group of it. So that's so there you go. That's what it is. Yeah, enough division. We're all human race. I agree. I'm not a big Darwin guy. I'm not a big racial identification guy. Whatever you want to identify as is your deal. I don't care. I'm just saying, right? We did one in Christianity, so I was like maybe, but no, no, I'm not gonna do it. Because look at the kind of response you get. Yeah, we're all human race. I agree. Grow and thrive. I love it. Yeah, very good stuff. So, yeah, I don't know, Darcy, about the blood tests. I'm not sure. I think they can kind of tell like what region your ancestors may have come from, but most of us pretty much all came from around that area. If you look at, we did one on Jesus recently, right? So with Jesus, Jesus was born a Jew, I think, but he's Aryan by description. You see, it's so stupid. You try to make sense of this. You try to clean this out. You can't really do a good job of it because it's all mixed in together. But basically, when Jesus was alive, there was Judea, okay? And then you had the Roman Empire. So you had Rome, which eventually collapsed later and, a lot of them moved out. But you also have some people that were indigenous, like people that are European, but are indigenous to different areas. So 2,000 years ago, when Jesus was alive, there was Judea in the land. You have Israel, you have Palestine, and they rebuilt it now, right? It's kind of cool, actually. I kind of like the fact that they were able to do that. Although a lot of people have had to die, to build that. So that sucks. I'm not in favor of, of anybody being displaced or anything like that. I mean, if you sell your house, that's one thing. We don't like seeing people get kicked out. But I do think it's cool that they've rebuilt Israel and they've built their own thing. Because if you go back to the Bible 2,000 years ago, where Jesus was in Judea, so, you have Pontius was the governor of that there, where he was crucified and everything. That group, that section, there was Nazareth and the different little groups around there, which is now like, It's I think it's mostly in Israel now, but there's Egypt, there's Babylon, there's all these key places around there. Anyway, they were pretty much like a lot of the ones, and I think even the ones now who say that they are actually from maybe a different area. They may not actually be from that section where when the Bible was when the events of the Bible took place, the New Testament. That a lot of them were there at that time with Jesus and with all the others. But, a couple thousand years later now, it is cool that they've been able to at least, continue with that religion, with Judaism as a religion, and that it still exists at all, because that's a long time for any religion to stick around for. So that's good. But yeah, that they had their own section there in Rome. And then when the Roman Empire fell, they kind of spread out, right? And the Romans did too, like, Italy, and you have a lot of the other northern places, Germany, the Germanic tribes and everything that happened there. So, yeah. So it's cool stuff. Yeah, Eduardo, later we're going to review Last of Us later. Bolshevik. Well, Jeshua, no, I'm not a Bolshevik, because the Bolshevik Revolution, if you're talking about the Bolshevik Revolution, that was also Jewish too, right? So they were almost all Jews, or at least half were Jews in the Bolshevik Revolution. So no, that's like what? Lenin, Trotsky, all that gang, right, that was involved with that. So, yeah, they definitely, you probably should know what they're involved with if you want to understand Earth at all. If you don't want to understand it all, then don't bother to learn about it. But you probably should know if you want to understand. Yeah, Blitz, Jesus was real. Jesus was he was real. He was in the area, and Pontius Pilate was the governor at the time, and Pontius Pilate crucified him. Yeah. Whether or not he came back from the dead, maybe it was a symbolic rising, but Jesus was real. Jesus started Christianity. He was put to death. And Pontius put him to death. Pontius was the governor 2,000 years ago in Judea. Yeah, so he was a historical figure, and not just referenced by the Bible. He was referenced by Pliny the Younger. He was referenced by a lot of people because Christianity was starting to spread and become a big thing. So a lot of the Roman higher-ups were killing a lot of Christians because they didn't want it. And the Jews that were there didn't want Christianity either. So they were going around and they were preaching and doing their stuff. And many of them were killed. But it still spread further and further. And then eventually Constantine made it the official religion later on. That took a long time. The Flavians, all that. But yeah, he was a real person. He was crucified. He was killed. So, yeah. Now, as far as the story might have been adapted. The story might have been changed. But definitely, he was there. So was Pontius. So was John the Baptist. These were real people. They were actually there in what we call now, I guess it'd be Israel now, right? In that land. So you can see why they wanted the land back, why they took the land back. They would want it because legitimately, yeah, he was actually there. He was a real person. He was actually crucified, yeah. So at least that's my findings, and I've gone through it for a few months now and really dove deep into both sides. Yeah, there was too many people who referenced him. It was spreading like crazy, Christianity. They couldn't stop it. They were killing them. They were crucifying them. They were doing all that stuff to try to stop it. They couldn't stop it. It spread too much, too fast. So, yeah. So Jesus was a real person. Like I said before, topologically, for Walking Dead, you have the governor, and in the Bible, you have Pontius Pilate, the governor, who was a real person. And there's statues of him and everything of what he looked like. He's in the historical record. He was in the Romans record as being the governor in Judea at the time when Christ was alive, and he was the man who basically allowed the Jews to put him to death. Yes, he was a real person. Now, whether or not he had any kind of powers or he rose from the dead or anything afterwards, that's up to you. If you're not Christian, you just say no. But you can't really deny his history. That'd be like saying Barack Obama is not a real person in a couple thousand years or something. It'd be like saying that. Or who was killed. It'd be like saying John McAfee wasn't a real person. It's like, I'm pretty sure he was a real person. Pretty sure. Yeah. Better example. That's a better example. Barack would be like Pontius. He'd be like an agent of the system, an agent of the state. Yeah. In Rome, let's say. So, yeah, or an emperor. He'd be like a Caesar. So, yeah. And the Crusades, yeah, afterwards, yeah. So, yep. No, Blitz, I got you here, bro. Blitz, I'll save you a lot of time. Blitz. Okay, let me save you a lot of time. Okay, just listen to me for a second, all right? Jesus was a real person, and he was crucified. But what I'm trying to tell you is he might not have had any powers to come back from the dead or anything. Maybe it was a symbolic rising. Maybe he was like going around and preaching and helping people and doing stuff like that. And he pissed a lot of people off, which is what happened. But he's not like Santa Claus, which is Woden. Santa Claus is Woden, and it's also an acronym scramble for Satan, right? So that's Santa. But Easter Bunny, I understand. But Jesus is not one of those. Jesus was a real guy, and he was crucified. He was actually crucified. It's in the record, and he was referenced by a lot of people in that time because he was a revolutionary, let's say. And revolutionaries get killed. That's what happens. A lot of revolutionaries get killed. If they get big enough, the higher-ups in the system kill a lot of the revolutionaries. It happens all the time. It happened a couple years ago, last year. It probably happened this year, without maybe so far even, who knows, that somebody here or there has been bopped off. But yeah, he was a real person, but he may not have had superpowers. He may have just been just like you or me, basically, yeah. But yeah, he was a real person. Yeah, he was. And Pontius Pilate was real. He was the governor at the time. And a lot of the disciples were real, or people by that name were in and around there. It's also around the time of what's called the War of the Jews. So you can look at Josephus's work for War of the Jews. You can read into that if you want to. Around that time was the Flavians. They were the emperors in Rome at the time, the Flavians. Afterwards, there was also Julius Caesar. So saying that Jesus wasn't a real person is like saying Julius Caesar wasn't a real person. Maybe even worse. Yeah, they were real people. Julius Caesar was a real person. Jesus was a real person. again, they may not have had any kind of superpowers or anything that we don't have. Okay, let's be clear on that. But yes, he was put to death by Pontius Pilate 2,000 years ago. Yeah, he was. So that's what it is. But he may not have had any, extraordinary powers. Do you understand? He may not have had any ability like Santa Claus. You put out your milk and cookies and stuff, but it's your dad putting on the suit. Okay, spoiler warning. Okay, right? Yeah. So you understand what I'm saying? He can't fly on reindeer and stuff like. Okay, so that's part of the tale. But what I'm trying to tell you is that it's based on a real guy. That's what I'm trying to tell you. Okay, you follow me? And the other characters in the story too. John the Baptist was a real person. A lot of the other characters were real as well too. Again, virgin birth, maybe not. Maybe Mary did get pregnant with a Roman soldier, and maybe Jesus was a bastard. Maybe he was a bastard, right? I mean, that's what it is, right? Maybe he was from out of wedlock, right? That's I mean, it's possible. I'm not saying that, but you can't really say that he didn't exist. I mean, that's like saying Julius Caesar didn't exist. It's sort of like you better have really, really good evidence that Julius Caesar didn't exist or Jesus Christ didn't exist. The other JC. Yeah, he did exist, and he was put to death. Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, that's it. Yeshua James says it is a threat to the system. That's right. Threat to the system. It happens all the time. It's more common than you think. You think that it never happens? Look at some of Martin Luther King Jr. I think his day is coming up soon too, right? Unless he was an agent or something. I don't think he was, but who knows? You never know if somebody, which side, are they playing for Rome or are they playing for the people? You never know. Are they working for Rome or are they working for the Jews or are they working for the regular people? You never know. You never know for sure, right? But yeah, you can't really say that, yeah, he's like a Bizarrizages, sure. Well, I think Jon Snow, here's a topological. Isn't there a BBC interviewer whose name is Jon Snow? Isn't there a BBC guy, like Piers Morgan type deal, like interviewer, all that stuff, like Tucker and these guys who do the news thing? Isn't there a BBC guy named Jon Snow? Isn't there? I believe there is. So you could say that maybe, it depends, you'd have to ask George R.R. Martin, but could you say that maybe he's based on the journalist? Yeah, there's a journalist, right? English journalist and television presenter, Jon Snow. Yeah. So could you say it's this one down here? This guy here, Jon Snow. So is it possible that the character may be a typological creation based off of this man? When people are creating stories or when they're creating fiction, a lot of times they base it off of topologically off of things in real life. So they'll take inspiration for characters they create from people, friends, family, things in real life that they nest into their characters for a show or a comic or a movie or whatever, right? So that's what it is. Yeah, JOK, I agree with, I've seen it, I know Eric, I actually know Eric, JOK. So I agree with Eric on almost everything. The only thing that we don't agree on is pretty much that, well, there's a couple things. I think he doesn't think Jesus existed. And I understand what he means. He's not wrong. I think he means that Jesus as like a superhuman didn't exist. That's what he's saying. I think he's saying that Jesus as like a Superman. Did you know, I found this out the other day. This is cool. You want to go into the Jews for a second, okay? Let's get Jewish for a sec, okay? In Aramaic, okay, stick with me here. In Aramaic, the name Martha is a translation of the name Mary. Did you know that? So Superman's mom is named Martha, I believe, and Martha Kent. And I think Batman's mom is also named Martha, isn't she? Martha Wayne. So you have Martha Wayne and you have Martha Kent, who give birth to your Superman, so Mary. So the Aramaic Martha is equivalent to Mary. Mary gives birth to Superman, and Mary gives birth to Batman. Martha Wayne, Martha Kent, Martha Mary. Mary is Martha. Aramaic Martha is Mary in, I think you have to translate it. Maybe it's not English. Maybe it's Hebrew and then English. So you could say that Superman's mother is Mary, and Batman's mother is also Mary. So there you have Mary. So I agree with Eric on just about everything, pretty much. The only thing that I'd say that I don't agree with him on is that Jesus as a person existed. It's pretty difficult to say that Jesus as a person didn't exist. You have to try to... It'd be a tough conspiracy to try to work that one out. You have to say that Josephus or Pauline Christianity, that they just wrote it in and that he wasn't. But topologically, he would have been based on somebody at that time. Now, the story may have been changed a lot. His birthday may have been changed. So I don't really disagree with Eric in him saying that Jesus didn't exist. What I'm saying is that he was a person, though. Okay, maybe the story is exaggerated. Okay, maybe the story is X-Men or it's Superman. Okay, so you see what I'm saying here? But he was an actual person at that time who was crucified. That's what I'm saying. Okay, and that's what all the historical record would point to. Whether or not he had any superhuman abilities, maybe he didn't. Okay, maybe he didn't. Maybe he was just a man just like you or me. All right, and that's what it is. But what he's kind of trying to say is he's basically saying that a superhuman person by that name, a son of God, he's saying a son of God didn't exist by that name, who had superpowers to walk on water, water to wine, all the different stuff. That's what he's saying. He's saying that that's not possible. Yeah, I don't disagree with him, but I pretty much agree with him on just about everything, pretty much. Every other thing that he said that I've researched and looked into, he seems right. He also doesn't agree that gravity exists. He says gravity is fake, that in a realm, up is up, down is down, left is left, and right is right. And I think he's right about that too. I don't think gravity exists. I think that what they tried to do is they tried to create a force like magnetism, which makes spheres work in heliocentrism. I think that's what they did there. So that's kind of what, gravity is sort of like an idea or a concept. It's a theoretical idea or theoretical concept for a force like magnetism that could work in a theoretical... It probably couldn't work. Actually, it couldn't work. But in a theoretical... heliocentric way. So I agree with him on pretty much everything. The only thing I'm saying is that the Jesus story is based on a man, and that he may not have had those powers or whatever, but he was a standout human being and somebody that you could look to as damn, dude, that's a respectable dude. You see what I'm saying? Like win, lose, or draw, you're gonna respect that guy, because he would stick to his commitments and his guns to the death, and so would the other Christians who were put to death after him in their thousands, tens of thousands, whatever number was put to death after that. Who knows? Who knows how many people were killed as a result of that startup. Startups require blood a lot of times, unfortunately. Unfortunately. You want to do a startup? It's you better be willing to pay, dude, because it's going to cost a lot. Yeah. So I can Blitz. Let me explain. I was talking about Eric. So Eric's the one who did the video about gravity and about gravity not existing. Now you have to understand what he's talking about, and I agree with him that if you're in a created realm, okay, Blitz, stay with me. I'll explain this to you. Okay. If you're in a created realm, you don't need gravity, because in a created realm, all you need is density, buoyancy. Basically, in a created system, up is up, down is down, left is left, and right is right. Okay? So you just program the system to have objects rise or fall based on their weight, like something being heavier than air going down. An anvil goes down, obviously. So what I'm saying from my vantage point is, if you're in a created system, a created realm, up is up, down is down, left is left, and right is right. Okay, from, in the realm. Let's do a cross. Okay, why not, right? So if you're in a created system, a finite realm, the gravity is like describing the rules of the creation, right? It's like describing how the system calculates what to put where. So if you're in a video game like World of Warcraft, your computer and BattleNet are processing where objects are all the time in the video game. So what we're basically saying is, if you go with like the Tesla realm Earth concept, so Tesla's realm Earth, okay? So in Tesla's realm Earth, let's say, you have electromagnetism, where like a magnet, things can, like you take a couple of magnets, they can repel each other or they can attract each other. So what we're saying is that the concept of gravity is basically like electromagnetism, just based on mass. It's saying that objects can hold each other like the moon. The Earth can hold the moon in range just based on mass or just based on weight, pretty much, right? So you're saying that if it gets into a Goldilocks zone, the Earth can kind of attract it, sort of like electromagnetism, sort of like magnetism, okay? But the idea or the concept of gravity is that objects have some kind of pull from each other, like a pulling force, okay? Get back here, moon, get back here, right? It's like, you're supposed to be over here, damn it, get over here. The moon's like, no, I'm going to go this way. No, you get back here. The Earth's like, get back here, okay? Okay, so I kind of know, get back here. Okay, you stay right there. All right, go around this way. Okay, fair enough. All right, well, that's what it is. Okay, so kind of the discussion on gravity is like, it's sort of like a force that they've made up, which is sort of like electromagnetism, just based on mass. That's kind of what you're talking about. You're talking about electromagnetism just based on mass alone, pretty much, right? That's what gravity kind of is in heliocentrism. But the point is that if you're in a created system, you don't need that at all. There's no need for it. Because almost what you're describing in a created system is that the rules of the processing of the system, okay, are processing all objects based on weight, so, and buoyancy, density, buoyancy. So the system processes where things are over n over time, and they move or rise or fall based on the processing of the system, just like in a video game like a World of Warcraft. So it's video game Earth, right? You could look at like Tesla's realm, like Earth, video game Earth. That's what you would think of it as. So it's processing where things are. It's over time, we're talking right now, right? So over time, it's processing instructions, and the system is running through on those instructions for Earth realm. Okay, so that's basically a little bit more there for you. Yeah, yin and yang, right? So that's what it is. So anyway, that's his topic. I'm not. You just brought it up, so that's why I'll touch on it. But I'm saying that I pretty much agree with just about everything with him. Only that I disagree. The only thing I might disagree with, and I think you could ask him. Go to his channel and ask him, see what he says. But I think that he would probably agree that Jesus was a regular guy like him or me, and that just like he didn't have the superpowers. So we don't really disagree. We're just kind of phrasing it differently. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, he existed. He just didn't. He probably didn't have the superpowers. That's what I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. I'm just saying he was a normal guy, just like you or me. But we can all be great like that. Eric's pretty great. You look at how many people he's schooled, right? He's probably like the best teacher in the world right now. You think about like, who are the teachers out there that are really making a difference, that are really lighting people up and giving people good information? I mean, he's giving people like better information than I'd say anybody. He's really lighting up millions of people. So he's probably the best teacher in the world right now, alive, during our time. in the year 2023 and prior, he's probably the best teacher in the world for open people, for people in regular walks of life, regular people. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Yeah, Scott Glick. So I don't know too many personally. Like, there's none that live here. There's basically, they just don't live here. There's almost none of them here because it's mostly rural and stuff. So they don't live here. No. So I don't know any locally here. I'm thinking if I ever did, just online. Like, I'm friends with a lot online because there's a lot of them online. But particularly when you get into like the intellectual dark web of the internet, there's a lot of them. So when you get into intellectual pursuits on the internet, definitely there's a lot of them there. And there's so many behind the scenes, like Rebel Media and things like this. There's so many that manage the people that you watch you don't even know. Like, you could look at Lex, right? I just found out that he was with the interview with I didn't know he was. I was like, I didn't. He doesn't look it to me. To me, he looks Russian or something. I thought he was Russian or something like that. I didn't know he was a J. I had no idea. But see, that's not surprising because they're all over the place in this type of business. A lot of times they're producers, they're network managers, they're a lot of them are pencil pushers behind the scenes for networking, podcasting, internet, television, movies, recording artists, all this stuff. There's so many of them there. That's all. And I don't have anything against them personally. Like, I understand their viewpoints on stuff from a high level. Like, I get pretty much what they're saying, in a lot of their stuff. They just don't like it if you publicize it and you put it out there for the goy, which means people that are not a member of their deal. That's all. Because a lot of it's very secretive. You have to, like I said, it's literally like a secret society. It's literally the same thing pretty much. And they don't want a lot of that stuff out there. So that's fine. I won't do a presentation on it. Anyway, whatever. That's cool. So it's what it is. Okay, great. I'm going to watch Last of Us after J-Spot. Very cool. It was great. Stay true to the video. Is just the first episode out tonight? Or yeah, nice Blitz. Nice. Yeah, they can be great, but dude, they can be nasty. They're not angels. Let's put it this way. They're not fucking angels, okay? They do some nasty shit. Really, really nasty stuff. Like, I mean, beyond your imagination, some of the stuff that they do. Like, again, some of the Hollywood stuff, man. You've heard about it. But I think it's mostly true. Mostly. There's a nasty underbelly there, dudes. There is. Believe you me, there is. Yeah. But who is? Right, Scott. That's true. The difference is, though, is that they won't let you. They'll go crazy on you if you point out the stuff that they adhere to and they're involved in. That's the difference. The difference is they go nuts. Other people, they kind of take it on the chin. They're like, whatever. So it's cool. But they particularly are like super defensive of their stuff. And they don't want people knowing a lot of the higher level stuff that they adhere to. So anyway. Yeah, just the first episode, right? Yeah. Yeah, they can be, Scott, but you're not being genuine to what I'm saying. I'm saying that they are the Pontus Maximus, if you want to go Roman. They're the Pontus Maximus for defensiveness, for you talking about what they believe, and they're worse than the Satanists. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so let's be honest here. No, it's not equivalent. No, they're not. See, this is what I'm talking about. No, I wouldn't. I'm okay with people discussing ideas. I don't want censorship. I want people to discuss ideas. I want people to, consider different things and to think about things. I want people to do that. And if I have a certain belief that's not good for other people, we should talk about it. We should go through it. I think that's good. But no, yeah, it's not good, man. It's not good. But they're not victims either. I want to be clear. They have a victimhood mindset, but some of the average of them can be, like victims because they don't, a lot of them are just like normal people. But it's once you get up to the higher levels and the more organized systems that they're in, that they create, that's when you get into some stuff that's really not good. And they've got they've got more blood on their hands, I think, than most groups. A lot more. And they're not victims. Not even close. They've got rivers of blood, I think, on their hands. Rivers of blood. More than probably anybody else, I think. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. But yeah, you can understand why they're defensive of it because, yeah, that's what it is. But they're not. They want their victimhood card, but they're not going to get it from me. That's for sure because I know too much about what they're involved in and everything. Yeah, that's why. So yeah. Son of Scotland says Walking Dead is incredibly woke. I don't know. I don't think it's that woke. I mean, there's some things in Walking Dead that are a little woke, but it's not that bad. It's not as bad as like a lot of the Netflix stuff right now. A lot of the Netflix stuff is really, really bad. Yeah. It's best not to go into it, Yeshua. Best not to go through it. Yeah. Although I know who that is too, but let's not go through that. Yeah. Yeah, no, Scott, that's not true. I'm positive my take is correct. Your take is incorrect, man. You don't know what you're talking about. Anyway, let's see what else did you guys say here. Gotta watch Last of Us. Yes, DC Squire. After we're done here, I'm gonna go watch Last of Us. We'll do a review on it later tonight or tomorrow. We'll do a review on it soon. Yeah, I'm excited to watch it actually. So, yeah. Chancellor Palpatine wants to discuss oldest human bones we have to a person that existed long ago. It's a mystery, Chancellor, how old human beings actually are. Like how far back we go. It's really tough to say. It's really speculative. You can't really say in honesty how far back human beings actually go. I think you could probably say maybe 10,000 years, maybe 7,000 years, something like that. Probably somewhere between, let's say, at least 5,000. So let's say at least 7,000, let's say, okay, up to about 20,000 years. I think that's about as far as you can probably say, in honesty, far back human beings go. Something like that. Because you got to go back to like ancient Egypt and Babylon and all that. And then who knows if there was anything kind of prior to that. It's really hard to say. Yeah. And there's a lot of garbage about that too, like, Big Bang, evolution stuff, all that stuff. So that's, it's tricky. Maybe like, it's kind of like if you're into creationism and you think creationism is correct, which I'm positive it is, probably like 10,000, 20,000 years. Like how old do you think the system is that we exist in? How old do you think how long do you think Earth has been running on this system for? I'm thinking like probably 10,000 years, maybe 20,000 max. And that's as long as our reality has been generated for. That's as long as, before that, it must have been the system startup. It must have been the boot up before that. So yeah, that's about the best we can probably do. I mean, I don't know how you could go back, and try to say like how far back it could be past that. It'd be difficult to say, man. You could try to find some bones and stuff, but I don't know. Yeah, so dudes who just finished watching Last of Us, what did you guys think? New Brunswick, Canada guy says the universe is basically multiple magnetic fields reacting with and to each other. It's wild stuff. Yeah, I agree, New Brunswick. That's about, I think his model was right. I think it was right. It's something like that anyway. It looks to me like that's about the best we're probably going to be able to do to create a model like that. But yeah, that's right. Electromagnetism. And it's possible that the moon and the sun and the luminaries, I heard somebody say that the luminaries are part of the electromagnetism and that they may be part of like the energy system for the Earth and the Earth realm. Like they may be part of the energy system that powers Earth, basically, or the sun and the moon, which I think is an interesting idea. So if you go with like the Genesis creation story, right? And you go with the moon and the sun, firmament, the waters above from the waters below. It's almost like you would have some kind of water, almost like a pumping type of system, like a big plumbing type system or something, where the waters above would feed somehow into maybe near the firmament, where the firmament would connect, like in Antarctica, where it would come down, the waters would somehow, from above to below, would somehow pump into the system and pump through, causing the tides. So the tides would actually be powered electromagnetically and somehow powered by the heavens above or in the firmament, like the sun and the moon being in the firmament, with the waters above kind of coming down and having some kind of connection between the waters above and the waters that we have in Earth realm or in our plane, let's say. So something like that. So it's a really cool idea. I don't know if there's any way you could do anything with that. How you could, I guess you could probably never prove anything like that. It's an interesting idea, though, that maybe the luminaries, what we call like other planets and stuff, have other purposes in the system, like some kind of powering effect to the system, something like that, which is kind of neat to think about. If you look at the models and everything. Yeah. So TH Gaming, gravity is, you want to talk more about gravity? Gravity is, in heliocentrism, it's like electromagnetism based on mass. That's pretty much what it is. Do objects attract each other just based on mass? Not that we can observe, no. All we can say is that up is up, down is down, left is left, and right is right. You can have your axis of things, and things that are, heavier, more dense, obviously, are going to go down as processed by the system. But if you're talking about heliocentrism, so it depends. Like, if you're talking heliocentrism, that's one way of looking at it, right, with gravity. If you're talking creationism, it's a totally different thing. It would be, if you're talking creationism in a created system, then it's run by the system, just like a computer that runs a video game, where in the video game things go up and down and everything like that based on the rules. So you could almost say that in a created system, gravity is the processing of the system. It's the system being processed by the processor, like with us where we can use computers, right? The system is being processed by the processor to have a function that will have objects go down that weigh more, right? So so there's more to it than just to say like gravity's fake, gravity's real, whatever. It's like, what do you mean by it? We got to dig into what we're talking about. Like, are we talking about heliocentrism? Are we talking about geocentrism? Are we talking about creationism? Are we talking about Hawking? A Big Bang shit. What are we discussing with respect to gravity? Are we talking about outer space? And how objects are going to supposedly move in outer space? How does that work? Right. So yeah, that's there's a lot more to unpack than to just say gravity's fake or gravity's real. Right. It's there's more to discuss there than just that. Yeah. Good question. Yeah. Similar to it. Yeah, Joshua, that's right. Yeah. Let's see. J Spot said Last of Us was good. It stayed true to the video game. Very cool. I like it. SF says 200,000 years, age of human beings. I don't think it'd be that long, SF, actually. I think it would be like 20,000 years. That's it. I don't think it would be that long. Maybe. I mean, it's hard to like prove or disprove. But most of the stuff that we have, like everything, is probably from about the last, since Egypt and Babylon and that, like maybe 10,000 years. I mean, past that, it's like we don't really know. Like, how could we say, right? One way you could look at it as our rate of progress and how quickly we progress. Because if we progress in 2,000 years from, wearing sandals in the sand to where we are now, wow. That would make me think that we weren't alive 200,000 years ago, because we would have progressed more quickly sooner. Like, look at all of our advancements in the last 2,000 years since the time of Jesus. You want to go back to Jesus and the calendar, right? In the last 2,023 years. Look at how much we progressed since that time. Since shooting bows and arrows and hacking each other up with swords and living in little huts and stuff like that, right? Living on the land, kind of, basic, just like livestock and basic, fishing and stuff. Look at where we are now. Steel skyscrapers, all this stuff. So, and that's just 2,000 years. So it kind of makes me think like, probably not 200,000 years, because we would have had technology way long ago then. probably like 10,000, 20,000 years. That's it. Probably. Since the system was created and started and everything. Probably not that long, because if it was that long ago, we probably would have come up with our tech like 100,000 years ago or 150,000 years ago. We would have had this tech now way back when. Unless you like the Atlantis idea that we did have tech, and then the flood happened, which everything was sunk, and then we had a reset, and now we're redoing again now. It's up to you. I don't think that there's anybody who can say right or wrong. And also, don't look to an expert to tell, don't look to one of these priests of scientism to tell you what it would be, because most of them are bought and paid for. Most of them are liars. Most of them are crap. They're full of shit. So they're not going to tell you. They're just going to make it up and hawk some book at you, sell you some book that's crap that they made up. So it's really tricky. But I think probably maybe 10,000 years, maybe 20,000. That's it. Because otherwise we would have had a lot of our tech sooner. If you like Atlantis and the Atlantic Ocean, and Atlantis sunk there, and then there was the flood, like the Bible records, and other cultures record too, of the flood, which again, if you understand the Earth model from a creationary standpoint of a firmament and water, the Creator could easily flood the system, because he could just feed the waters above in, and they would just flood up the system from the bottom. Fishbowl. So you would have, the great flood would have been the Creator just pumping water into his creation, rising the water level and sinking Atlantis, sinking the land that would have been in that area. I think Atlantis is supposedly Atlantic Ocean, supposedly wasn't it near the British Isles, somewhere around there, and during the flood likely would have sunk. And by the way, the Bible's not the only recording of the flood. That was recorded by a lot of different cultures. Almost all indigenous peoples have the flood story in their history, in their literature. So there likely was a flood at some point. But, again, how far back you want to go with that, I don't know, man. That'd be really difficult to say, right? Almost pretty much impossible to say. I don't like Randall Carlson at all, SF. He's another one of those Joe Rogan guys, right? I don't like him at all. I don't trust him at all. I wouldn't believe anything he says. In fact, I would probably think whatever he does say is probably the opposite. Because he's just one of those guys, man. It's the same thing. I won't listen to these people anymore. I won't listen to him, any of these guys anymore. I think they're all liars. I think they're all just, it seems like that's all they do is just lie all the time, man. It seems like they're professional liars. So I wouldn't listen to anybody who's on any of his, no, I wouldn't. These are gatekeepers, man. I wouldn't, paid hacks. I wouldn't listen to any of them. And I'm not saying you have to listen to me either. Don't. Go buy your own books and learn for yourself. But those people, usually not. If the system promotes them, usually, no, they're not genuine. Usually not. Most of the time, they're not. It's like, anyway, I don't want to call people out by name, but yeah, usually not, man. I wouldn't trust. Anyway, yeah. But what is, humor me for a second, Esif. Tell me what the theory is. How long ago do you go? Again, I've just told you my thoughts. 10 to 20,000 years, that's it. I don't know if we will run out of fossil fuel there, Chancellor. Also, I don't think it's made of fossils as well. I don't think fossil fuel is actually made out of fossils. That's another one that's like, I don't think so. No. See, that's another one that goes into the length of time of the Earth, right? So I think that's also a lie, too. I don't think that fossil fuels are actually from fossils. I think that they're in the system that it's put there for us, probably, to use. Like in the system. If you're in a created system, that's there for us to use for ourselves. Now, is there a limit to it? I have heard some interviews where people say that they replenish themselves. I thought that was interesting. So they can drill for oil, they can pull up all the oil, it will stop. And then if they give it a little while, like a couple years or something, they go back, they drill again, there's more oil there. So it's somehow replenishing itself, like it's maybe some kind of, let's say, blood of the system. Like it's like Gaia blood, it's like Earth blood. Like you're taking blood from the Earth itself, because again, if we understand that most of what they've given us is crap, then we have to try to kind of think for ourselves what it could be, and that's going to be more closer to true, most likely, than the offset information that's put out there to discredit everything and scramble everybody, right? So I think that's an interesting concept, that maybe the fossil fuel actually replenishes itself. I'm not sure. I've heard people say it, but I know that there's a lot of heavy-duty bigwigs, Standard Oil, things like that. What is it? Enron, is that one? Big Shell and these big, huge conglomerate. You know, they want this scarcity. If you have more scarcity, the price goes up. You increase the price. So it's a good question. Is there even a limit to oil? Is there? Like, I think that we don't know for sure. We have to trust them, and they have a financial incentive to lie about it, to drive scarcity, which drives price. So I don't know. There are also some vehicles. I saw one out of Japan, I think, where it runs on water. So I think that's really cool, that vehicles that could run on water. And I think alcohol, too. I think there was a time that there was some tractors and stuff that could run on alcohol, which is pretty sweet. Obviously, alcohol is not limited. We could recreate it ourselves fairly easily, right? So get it from the ground, like literally from the ground, we could grow it up. So that's pretty cool. So some different ideas there. As far as what's correct and what's true, I mean, that's so hard. You got to go, you'd have to go through it a long time, really become an expert on that and figure out what's correct about it, right? So it's tricky. Well, our ancestors did, Crofcom. Our ancestors did live during that time, and I guess they were high up enough so that they didn't, maybe they were on mountains and things like that. I guess they were high up enough so they didn't drown. That's basically what happened. Not everybody, obviously. Obviously, the story of the Ark, it's not possible to fit everybody on Earth into a giant boat. It's just a story of the time, and like, there probably was, though, families like that did have really nice boats that maybe were able to get on their boats and weather it out. But I think people, if they were to head into the mountains, you'd have to raise your elevation high enough so you could escape it. But like if there was a flood right now, you got like California and places like that, they would obviously sink. They would sink, right? So that's what it is. So maybe people that lived in the mountains and everything, yeah. So they would, like, our ancestors probably did live higher altitudes. That's how they would have survived it. Remember, we came from them, so obviously we had to get through that for us to exist here. So that is us in a way too, right? So yeah. Yeah, Yeshua says cars can run on vegetable oil or hemp as well. Yeah, scarcity, artificial scarcity drives price, right? Like if you convince people that it's scarce, you can charge more for it. So that's what you have to control. It's like for pricing, that's what scarcity has to do with. So yeah, absolutely. So yep, it's cool. Yeah, they are. That's right. That's true, Crofcom, that there is part of the deal to get us away from the older religions and stuff. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Yeah, it is. It is. That's part of the deal. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, New Brunswick, Canada guy says, I believe everything here is for us to use, but we can choose whether to use it wisely or not. Yeah, I agree too. And there have to be some resources that are scarce, like some stuff like diamonds and like some of the things that are used in the, like silver, which is used for like electronics and stuff, copper, other things too. Some of it would be limited. So there's truth to that as well, that some of it is limited. Whether or not oil is in particular, good luck. You could probably spend the rest of your life trying to figure that out if you want to, if you're that interested. I'm not that interested in it. It's like, I'm not autistically fixated on oil. I don't care. I just want to be able to run my car and get around. That's basically it. If it's alcohol or vegetable oil or water or oil, whatever, as long as it works, like that's what I care about. Crofcom says 6,000 to 7,000 years. Yeah, I think that's what the scriptures say. So something like that. 2020 to the time of Jesus, a little, before that to the Egyptian period and that. sometime the flood that's recorded at some point in there. I don't know when you put that. I have no idea where you'd put that. Before Jesus, obviously, so I don't know. I don't know. You'd have to look at the timeline and put it into what makes sense. Yeah. Yeah, that's cool. So, yeah, some great comments from some of you guys. Really, really good. Yeah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Yeah, I know a lot about it, Scott. I know a lot about it. I'm cool with yeah, I've dived incredibly deep with it, so I understand and to say too, also, most of them actually don't really know anything about it. Also, so your average one, they don't really know. Like your average J, they don't know anything about the higher level stuff that their tribe is involved in. They don't know. Most of them probably don't know anything either. So it's sort of like everything else. You kind of have to dig through it if you want to get to the more gnosis or the kind of the gold. If you want to dig for gold there, you have to get through the first level, which is like the average level that most people understand, and then you have to get deep, and you gotta kind of learn where their positioning was, during the wars and everything, what they think about different religious groups and different parties, right? How they interact with each other, how they work as like a society of their own, how they help each other, how they bring each other in, how they do all these different things. And yeah, there's a lot to it there. I know a lot about it, and I'm not saying that they're just all bad or all good. It's a mix of everything. But definitely, as you get up higher in that system, there's a lot of bad, like a lot of bad. And there is with a lot of groups, like with many groups, but especially with them, they've got some really, really bad stuff higher up. But it's also unfortunate that the regular ones, the low-level ones, right, who are just like open society, regular people, they don't know all the things that the higher-up ones are engaged in. They don't know that. So they're like, what the hell? Because most of them are in the dark, too. Most of them don't know as much about it as I do, or maybe you do. I don't know if you know much about it either. Maybe you don't. But the regular ones, they don't know about all of the other things that the big ones are doing. So it's like the little ones and the big ones. The little ones, the regular everyday ones, they don't know about a lot of the other stuff that the higher up ones are engaged in. So yeah. So some know, some do, and everybody varies. Like everybody varies in understanding of how these things work, right? Most people don't know almost anything. They just watch television and get their surface narrative. That's it. They don't go any deeper than that, and they're content with that. So that's fine if that's what they want to do. But yeah, and it's not to say also if you go back to Jesus's time or whatever, it's not to say that the Roman higher-ups were, not bad too. I mean, they were literally crucifying people. I mean, that's brutal, dude. You want to talk about a brutal way to punish somebody? That's brutal. So, I don't think that anybody should ever do that. I mean, that's a really terrible way to die, and a terrible punishment to exact on anybody, right? So you can understand their side of things too when they're rebelling also against different different countries or different groups or all that too, and everything that they're doing. You can understand both sides. Yeah, you can understand both. So is what it is. Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. What else did you guys say here? All right. Well, yeah. Davik, Jen, Eva, I'm gonna go watch Last of Us soon. Like once I finish the stream with you guys about the Rick and Michonne one, I'm going to I'm gonna go and I'm gonna watch Last of Us, and I'll do a review for it later tonight or tomorrow. Josh said the problem with a lot of alternative fuel sources is they aren't as refined and clean as high-octane gasoline. Yeah, I don't know, Josh. Again, see, like I said, maybe that's true, maybe it's not true. I don't know. You'd have to look through it. Maybe that's correct, but I know a lot of the green stuff is not good. A lot of it's deceptive too. So, like for example, the electric vehicles, the amount of diesel that they have to use to get the materials that are used in the electric vehicles offsets any environmental benefit of the vehicles. So the amount of energy they have to use to get the special materials for the batteries and everything for the electrical vehicles is it's a net loss in terms of clean, like the idea of clean, right? It's a net loss because they have to use so much resources and big bulldozers and big heavy duty equipment to dig up the elements required to create the batteries for the electric vehicles, that the electric vehicles are actually a net negative. They're a net loss. They're not beneficial for the environments at all, because it's so hard to get the all the minerals and everything that you need to then build the batteries for the electrical vehicles, that any amount you would save after that is negligible anyway. So in other words, they're either worse than gas cars, they're either worse for the environment, or they're equal. Let's say they're equal or worse. They're not a benefit, but they're going to push it anyway because make lots of money on it, stuff like that. That's just what they're going to do, and they're doing the environmental stuff, so that's what it's going to be. Yeah, that's right. Crofcom. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying there. It's really the Zios. That's really what most of it has to do with. But that's what a lot, like, again, average people are not involved in any of that stuff. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the higher, like, when you get into having to creating new countries or world wars or stuff like this, I mean, the amount of people that the loss of life to make these big changes like this is absolutely massive. It's massive. Look at World War II. Like 60 million by some counts, or 80 million people during World War II. I mean, that's a lot of people, brother. That's a lot of people. So anybody who was involved in what happened there is like, yeah, they got a lot of blood on their hands. It's what I don't know what else you want to say. It's not good stuff, and yeah, that's what it is. So, but does your average person have anything to do with that? No, of course not. And I'm not talking about, I'm not discussing average, everyday, worker, person who's just like anybody else, right? I'm talking about the structure of the higher ups, like you said, Zios, where you get into that section, which has to do with international, geopolitics, and you get into, major wars and all this stuff. It's like, wow, yeah. Basically, if any of those can be avoided, that's great for people, because the amount of people, the loss of life is just unbelievable when it comes to major modern warfare, So, yeah. Joshua James says, you ever seen a EV explode, like an electric vehicle explode? I know, yeah, the batteries. I have seen them, yeah. Oh, man, electrical fires are so bad, dude. Electrical fires are terrible. And because you can't really put them out that well either. They just burn, like, you spray them with water, it gets in the electricity, and it's like, oh my god, electrocute you and shit. It's like, oh my god, it's really bad, dude. It's yeah, absolutely. Yeah, financial warfare. You could almost say, like, I'd almost say that as far as the Jays are concerned, if you want to go into that a little bit more, I kind of don't want to, but I'll say this about it. They sort of engage in like energy warfare. That's what I'll say. They engage in energy warfare. That's the way I see them. So instead of like troops on the ground and trying to like, that's like the Roman, beat them over the head, like brute force type of warfare. The Roman type of warfare, you could almost say, like Aryan type warfare. Germanic tribes, all the other tribes. Aryan type warfare is like ride in on horses, smack them over the head, crucify them until they stop doing what they're doing, right? It's like what they do. But as far as the Jays are concerned, the type of warfare they do, it's mostly economical. It's mostly capitalistic. It's like, trying to gain resources, right? It's like resource warfare almost, right? It's all resource-based warfare. It's like gaining resources and gaining ownership of companies and gaining, leverage and positions and all that. Whereas the Aryan Roman type of warfare, which would be like the Germans, you look at World War II and the way the Germans were doing things like with the Blitz and everything, that's like a Aryan type of warfare to just ride in on horseback or in, Stuka dive bombers and tanks and just beat the shit out of the person and then do whatever, which is bad too. I'm not saying that's not, but it's like a different type of warfare than economic warfare, right? Which is more along what, like a lot of your higher up Jays are more, engaged in, right? And so there's some clear differences between that. But there's always differences in the way different groups approach problems like warfare and things like that. Yeah. Basically, Dobrik, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, that's it. So, see, Crofcom knows because he's one. Where are your Crofcom? Where are your parents from? Like if you go way back, where's your ancestry from? Are you from Israel or where are you from? And again, like I said, I'm not against anybody. I understand different types of warfare. I understand different tactics. And if anything, I'd say they're smarter than the brute force tactics. You see what I mean? Like, I'm not hating. I'm saying, like, but you should know, like, you should understand, like this is why people get mad at me. It's like, dude, I'm not being adversarial. I'm trying to tell you, like, you should understand the different types of tactics. You should be able to recognize them, but people can't, right? I don't know. It's like, wow, okay. But it's good to be able to understand the differences between them. Yeah. Cool, man. Yeah, you got the Star of David. So it's like, are you, like, Crofcom, are you into, like, Saturn worship and all that, like Black Cube and all that stuff? Because I like to look at some of your guys' stuff where you've got, like, the encoding and you take the star and you kind of, like, anyway. Let's not do that. That's a different thing. Anyway, just tell me where your parents from. So he says he's not sure. I see. This is what I'm talking about. Crofcom, you just proved my point again. See, so you're also Aryan too. See, you guys are not. You guys are a culture group. You're a religion. You're not a race. I'm telling you right now. Look at what Crofcom just said. He just said, "I'm French Italian. I'm Polish. Polish, Jewish, French. My dad is Polish Jewish." My dad, French, Italian, Portuguese. I'm born in Boston, Massachusetts. Boston, Mass. That's cool, dude. Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Thanks, Joshua. Yeah, I'm trying my best here, bro. I'm like tap dancing here. You know what I mean? It's like, what kind of? This is like hopscotch, right? On YouTube, right? This is like, oh, I gotta step over this mine. There's a landmine here. Oh no, you gotta get there. Oh no, you thought you got me? Oh no, this way. Okay. But yeah, see, they're not. See, you're Aryan too, though, right? You see what I'm saying? So you're both, and almost all of you guys are. Like almost everyone is also European too. So that's why I said it's a religion. It's a cultural group. If you identify as that, that's fine. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But I am saying that it's not a distinct race from Europeans. I think, so long story short, are Jays white? The answer I would say is yes, they are. They don't want to be, but they are. So they're struggling with like this way where like sometimes they want to put heat on Aryan people because they don't like, a lot of them don't like Aryan people, right? But it's like, but they are part themselves too, though. I would say most anyway. Maybe there's a few that like you'd have to, like, they've been intermarrying for so long. But then if you intermarry too much in a small cultural group, you can get like inbreeding, right? You get inbred. So, or at least close to it. Like it may be not your direct cousin, but what if you start marrying like if you marry your second cousin or your third or your fourth cousin or something? I still classify that as kind of inbreeding. Like, it's kind of close. Your blood is getting kind of close. You know what I mean? So, I don't think it's a good thing either. I don't know. Anyway. Thanks, Skipler. I appreciate it, dude. I'll just call it like it is, man. Try my best anyway. And again, it's no disrespect to anybody, but I just think that it's cool to, like, I think it's cool to talk about it. Crofcom says Yahweh was Jewish. Yeah. I mean, yeah, even Jesus may have been half Roman. So if he wasn't, Holy Spirit, whatever, he may have been half Jewish and half Roman soldier, bastard, maybe. Could be, right? Like it could be the case. I don't know whether he was or not. But yeah, so that's what it is. Vito says, but Trev, my cousins are hot. Vito, please don't bang your cousins. Please don't do that, Vito. That's bad. That's a slap. Vito, you get a slap, okay? This represents your wrist right now, Vito. Don't bang your cousins, Vito. Slap. Okay, don't do that. Slap. All right, you get a slap because inbreeding has all kinds of problems. It causes cruelty. It causes aggression. It causes all these problems. Inbreeding. It's not good. It's not good at all. Birth defects and all this crazy stuff. It's not good. Anyway, don't do it, Vito. Don't do it. Don't even think about it. Yeah, oh dear. Okay, so we're at 2 hours and 10 minutes. So we're going to wrap soon here, dudes. I think it was a fun... what was the original topic? Rick and Michonne delayed to 2024. And then what did we do? We got Last of Us a little bit. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch it soon. And there you go. I sort of tap danced, hopscotched around a couple of topics related to Judaism. Okay, is that okay? Is everybody okay? Everybody all right? Am I going to get angry emails tomorrow? Yes. Is that a little bit okay? That's tap dancing, dude. While also speaking to fairness and truth at the same time. That's the best I can tap dance here and do my best. Okay, so that's it. Have I played Ratchet and Clank? No, I haven't. All right, dudes, let's just double check what you got here for me. Anybody else ask any good questions? Let's see. Any final questions you want to send through, you go ahead and we will wrap up here in a minute. Yeah, good stuff. Yeah. Yeah, Scott, you're triggered, bro. You gotta chill, man. Like I said, I'm being as nice as I can be while also favoring truth as well. I have to be general. If you got to be really, really careful with this stuff, especially if you shouldn't name drop, some of the higher up people. That's really not a good idea to do that. That's a very, very, very bad idea. We can't do that, dude. I'll give you the most I can give you. If you're still confused, then it's time for you to go start learning and reading. That's all I can tell you. And if you don't want to know, that's fine too. Let's see. What else did you guys say? I think we got everybody. I think we got everyone. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. I think that's what you guys had for tonight. So, Last of Us coming up soon. I'll have some videos for you guys on Last of Us here pretty soon. So, okay, I guess that's what you guys got. I guess that's what it is. Yeah. Where should you read? Well, you can buy books. That's a good place to start. Maybe if you want to read your Bible, that's a good way to go. You could read Josephus's work. You could read War of the Jews if you want to. That's a cool one to look at. I'm looking at a little bit from Caesar's Messiah and some of that stuff I've been into recently, which I don't think is true, but I like to read about it anyway. There's some cool stuff in it. Yeah, read about World War II. Read about the different groups involved. Read what they said. Maybe go on BitChute, watch some specials on the Germans in World War II. You can learn a lot about it. There's a lot to unpack there. And you won't get most of it on the mainstream, unfortunately. So, okay, here we got one from Ali7 Detto who says, technically, Jesus was not Jewish. He was born unto the Jews. Well, yeah, I know, Ali. Okay, I know. It's up to you. What you... I'm so not talking about Jewish people anymore. I'm not doing this again. We're not doing this again. I'm so... Okay, I don't care. Whatever. Okay, whatever. I'm not doing this again. Whatever. Okay. You can keep your Holocaust cloak. You can keep all your special J cards. Okay, I don't care. Whatever. All right, we're not talking about it. Okay, anyway. All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching. And, thanks for contributing. Great comments and everything for tonight. Okay, one more from Ali7 Detto. I'm not sure if Jesus has a nationality. I mean, he's the Son of God. God probably doesn't have one, I would think, but I don't know. Yeah, you're right. You're right. If you view it as that way, then that's true. He doesn't really have a nation or a thing. It's unto God, right? So, yeah, that's what it is. All right, agree. Okay, let's leave with that one. I think she's right. Let's go with hers to finish off. Thank you guys for watching. Have yourselves a great night, and I'll see you back again soon for Last of Us video in the next day or two. Thanks for watching, guys. Yeah.